sometimes might be in that in-between stage and it might feel difficult because we haven't completely shifted the mindset around this new identity and who we are. And so embodying those new habits, taking the actions and taking it step by step, that can help us to shift that identity and shift that mindset of I'm not this kind of person anymore and this kind of person. So welcome back to the Love and Wellness Connection with Leon and Tal, helping you to elevate your health, deepen your love, and live more intentionally. So we've just come back from a few holidays. You can see we're looking a little bit tan. Leon definitely more than me. We've been to Cyprus, Crete, and also Budapest. So little break from the podcast, but we are excited to be back. And today we're talking all about transformation and outgrowing your old life, growing into a new self, and that transition period and, the discomfort that we can feel from that as well.
And on the topic of that, we've both been on a journey ourselves as individuals and as a couple. And it's been really amazing to watch each other transform and really step into those new chapters in our lives. And there's been many that we've been able to witness over the last 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing for sure is, we're passionate about this topic because we feel like we've learned so much on this journey as a couple. And we feel like many people can relate to being able to change and maybe the challenges that come along with that. So first thing to understand is that the only thing that's constant in this life is change.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's changing, not just us as people, but in the world. The seasons are always changing. The journey of life, I feel like, is a forever changing thing in all different facets of life, in our relationships, in our health, right? When it comes to aging, we're always changing. Our body's changing. I mean, there's so many different areas that the word change applies to. So what that means is when it relates to us and our own lives, as human beings, we are going to be able to continuously grow, change, look back on ourselves and realize where we were at, maybe the things that we have positively changed since the past, and also the things that maybe we look back on, we're like, you know what, I need to recapture that part of myself. I need to recreate that part. I need to try and be like that part of myself in the future. So there's so many things that we can take from our past and learn from. Some of the things that I look back on now at 29 years young, I look at myself 10 years ago at 19, I look at myself even 15 years ago around 14, and I see the different mindsets and specifically attitudes towards life that I just almost am like, wow, I wish I could have spoke to that younger version of myself and told him this and given him advice. And that's all a part of the life journey. I wouldn't change anything, but it's just fascinating to watch my younger self and specifically to these areas, One, I'd say when it comes down to career, I think all of us have probably...
It's a transitional period and it's a lot of the time new and unknown with change and especially with career. You're stepping into new paths, new roles, new activities that you're doing each day. So that's a natural part of life that is easy to relate to.
So yeah, specifically with mine, I recognize that from education going into career, I notice a lot of that. I notice a lot of like balancing what I personally feel is authentic and what I want to do, which was specifically becoming a professional footballer and then working within sport or doing something that felt very individual, then also balancing the fact that like I've gone to school, I'm going to uni, I need to get a job because that's what the kind of teaching you need to do.
Yeah.
So kind of the balancing act of that and then eventually football not working out for me and then kind of feeling like that was my only option. I feel like if it wasn't for me opening my mind up to entrepreneurship, I would be working a job right now, And not that would be bad, but just for me personally, I felt like the journey of entrepreneurship and the personal pursuit and endeavor of that suits my personality. It suits the way I am as an individual. And I'm just so grateful that like I kind of chose to bet on myself and chose to back what I personally felt was authentic to me, regardless of what other influences maybe I had around me, and be that friends, family, and maybe just what I'd been exposed to about what was normal and what you should do, what the safe option is. I really look back now and I'm like, thank God I backed myself, because I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for the entrepreneurial endeavors that I've had, which have been many over the last, 10 plus years.
And that isn't always easy. You knew early on, but sometimes people figure out things later.
And it's true, because I've spoken to a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, which I have a lot of friends. They'll probably work in an industry for a long time that they don't like, and then they'll eventually open their mind up to being a business owner or being entrepreneurial in some way. And I've noticed that pattern a lot. So I think it's kind of an anomaly in my own circumstance, where it's like I kind of straight after uni became a business owner. I remember at one point, the idea of being a PE teacher was like kind of encouraged by some of my uni lecturers and like tutors who I was working with. And I remember my mum even saying like how I'd be great at that. And I remember kind of almost at one point buying into that idea, because I was like, well, it almost felt like a safe journey for me. Yeah, it felt like a safe part. Not that there's anything wrong with being a teacher. I think it's the most incredible thing ever to be a teacher, especially PE teachers or any type of teacher. So it was never like anything about me not wanting to be that for any reason. It's just, I don't know.
It didn't fit.
It just didn't fit, because it felt like I felt like I wasn't excited about it.
Yeah.
It almost felt like I was like, okay, I can do that, rather than I would love to, you know. And again, I didn't steer in that direction because of that. But I mean, I would say I definitely considered it because I didn't really know what else at one point. So yeah, that's what I noticed. What about you? What would you say related to career and your journey? Because obviously you studied psychology at uni, but I'm pretty sure you didn't decide you were going to become a psychologist.
No, I actually knew that early on, that I didn't want to follow down that path of being a psychologist or a therapist, but I studied the subject because I enjoyed it, and because like the next step naturally was to go to university. That's what we're told to do. You go to school, go to uni, higher education, and you get a job and etc. So I knew early on that I didn't want to go down that path, but I didn't know what else to do at that stage. And so I kind of came out of university in that feeling of I still don't really know what to do with my life. And just relating back to what you were saying, like I think it's amazing that earlier when you did know that you didn't to like have a traditional job and you wanted to go down to entrepreneurship route. But a lot of people that do it the other way around, where they have a career and then they realize I want something different. I want to create my own business, or I want to go down a different path, or whatever it is. There's a period of discomfort. There's a period of feeling like where you're currently at is no longer serving you. And that can be within career, but that can also be within relationships. It's this undercurrent, this subconscious feeling that things don't quite fit the way they used to. Things aren't quite as comfortable, and I need to move, or I need to change, or I need to do something different so I can be happier. And so, yeah, I can feel like I'm on the right path, or I'm living.
So how does that relate to you?
So, something that I can relate to is maybe within the social settings and with friendships. Like I used to be friends with a number of different people that I'm not currently anymore, and I love for them. But at the time, I remember, being around social situations, whether that was kind of going partying or drinking, and the type of conversations that I would be around, and just feeling like I'm not in the right place. Like I don't feel like this is me living my authentic self being here. I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't really enjoy it. And I started to stop partying and stop drinking, and so started working on my mindset and spirituality in different areas that I felt amazing doing. And because of the different paths, some of those friendships are situational, and I'm no longer friends with those people. Not that they're bad or anything, but we just took different routes. And that was a period of discomfort. And even now I look back and I have love for those people, those relationships, and I do miss some of them. And that's another stage, I think, that's really, you've gone through that initial discomfort and you start to create new habits and new patterns. And that's really where the identity shifts happen, because that's when you start thinking of yourself as a different person. And you do that by embodying the habits of that new person or of that new career. If you're in a job and suddenly now you're an entrepreneur, you've got different habits, different routines, and different mindset and attitude that you need to help you shift into that identity.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of just said. I mean, just to try and go back to one of the things you said, which was talking about people, because obviously we're going to have people in our life first. We're going to have people in our life that we think are going to be in our life forever.
Yes.
And then they're not, and it can be kind of a shock. It can be a bit of a surprise. It can be can be a shame, or it can just be a natural thing. Like you drift apart.
Yeah.
Or it can end up bad times. It sounds like for you, the person you were becoming in line with the way that they were. Not that they're bad people, like you said, but it's just you felt like you were at a different chapter, different reasons. We all have different experiences, different backgrounds, and different personalities. So it's normal. But like, I think that's something that everyone can relate. Like, I can definitely relate to that. I've had people in my life that I'm like, they're brothers. I'm gonna know. I'm gonna have them like under my arm forever. And it happens. But one thing for sure is that I think accepting that everyone's going to grow at different rates, and it doesn't mean you're growing more than them. It don't mean I'm growing more than them. It's not a competition. It's not who's more aware and who's more mature. It's that can be the case sometimes, but it's more of a thing that, like, if your identity is becoming something new and other people's identity is somewhat in the same place, it means that the way you think about yourself and the way you feel and the way you act on a daily basis starts to change.
Yeah.
And because those actions start to show a divide, it's almost a natural process to slowly start to go away. And that can be a very normal, natural thing in life. And I think it doesn't have to happen. But if both parties make the effort to stay in contact, and regardless, because I have people that are so different to me in my life, and I love them. I love them like family because of the relationship we built. We don't really have to be the same. But when you're younger, I think the things that connect us are the things that we have in common.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you learn to appreciate people that are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think generally.
And it can be just different timelines. Going back to what you're saying about the rate of growth, we're all on our own path, and that's where it comes into not comparing yourself with where other people are in their stage of life, because they might be on a different timeline, and still having love for them. I think where there can be a little bit of discomfort is when you're changing, you're going through transitions, but maybe the people around you, the close people or family or close friends, they might not necessarily agree with it or understand why. And this period of transition or change or outgrowing your old self, it's not for anyone else. It's for you. And choosing your own path rather than choosing the path that maybe others, family, or the world said is the right path for you.
Let me tell you a quote that you made me think of. Relates to that. It's along the lines of being yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So, like, people can try and make you something else, yeah, because you can actually unconsciously make them insecure. So, for example, right, let me talk about alcohol, right?
Okay.
So, like for a long time in my life, yeah, I never touched a sip of alcohol, and because it was a decision I made, it was where I was at. I wanted to not touch it once, yeah. And I know people around me, they would be drinking. And I know me not drinking can make them feel a bit conscious. It didn't have to be. I never judged them for it. But it's just a thing that happens naturally because you kind of become a mirror to them of, oh, wow, he's not drinking. And I have to drink to have a good time. That's the thing that comes up. By the way, having a good time, we're not judging anyone that has a little drink, wants to let their hair down, have fun.
Just an example.
We're not bringing that up. It's just an example of where I was at in my life and what that did to people around me. Same with being plant-based. So we're both plant-based. Been so for many years now. It's always a surprise. Tell them like, on holiday.
Like, how are you going on holiday? Time.
Oh, we're on holiday.
They're like, well, you don't need. Yeah,
it's funny. But side point. But yeah, the point is, I remember when people used to eat meat and stuff in front of us. Like I would have judged. I thought to myself, I would never watch them or think anything different. I was cracking on because it's a better lifestyle choice for me, and I feel healthy, clean, and like the thought of the animals and everything. But they would suddenly start to be like conscious of it. So they'll feel like, oh, you know, I'm actually starting to try and be. They'll start trying to tell me, oh,
I tried it once.
I tried it once. It wasn't good for me. They start kind of projecting their own beliefs and stuff. And it can kind of bring out that they feel a bit bad about it or whatever. And by the way, it's normal. Human beings, we naturally compare to one another.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to get at, and it relates to your initial point, which is this: when you make different choices to the masses, or when you make different choices just to other people, it can start to kind of show up in the way that people perceive you. And a lot of the time, it can be negative, yeah. And it's not anything to do with you; it's actually to do with them.
Yeah, sometimes it might bring out their insecurities.
Even if there's battle, but it's not suddenly. None of this is to try and predict that suddenly any of these habits make us better or less than anyone. We're all equal. But it's very important to share that these break the unspoken contract that you almost like agreed upon. Is that I know you to be this person, you know me to be this person. But as soon as you kind of go and veer away from that, people can start to view you differently, and some people won't like it.
So it could be a little shock to the system.
Simple.
And that's where that discomfort comes with those relationships. But when you're stepping into a new person, yourself, this new identity, or you're trying to change a career or whatever it is, there's going to be that period where you haven't quite moved away from your old self, and you haven't 100%. Quite fully moved away from your old self, fully stepped into your new self. So you're almost in this kind of caterpillar stage where you're in the midst of the transformation. And there's parts of your old self that may be pulling you back, know where your head is a better fit for you. And so it can be uncomfortable, and it can be difficult, and it can be painful. Yeah. And so looking to where you're wanting to go and looking to other people's inspiration, that can be something that's helpful. And that's helpful for me, especially, within career or my health journey as well, looking to people that I want to emulate habits and then implementing more of that. And we sometimes might be in that in-between stage, and it might feel difficult because we haven't completely shifted the mindset around this new identity and who we are. And so embodying those new habits, taking the actions and taking it step by step, that can help us to shift that identity and shift that mindset of, I'm not this kind of person anymore, I'm this kind of person. So using the example of alcohol, I'm not someone who gets drunk all the time. I'm not a big drinker anymore. I'm someone who is conscious about what they consume. They don't completely, as an example.
Yeah. On that topic, so interesting. I recognize that. I don't know if people will be able to relate. Maybe it's a common thing. But I remember like during the process of change, of trying to be a different man and like take more responsibility for my life and get my finances on point, my health on point, my relationship, I kind of think about these areas, and then like it's all this responsibility. When you're young, you don't really have all that.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to drive past my school. Like I used to enjoy driving back and drive. I remember I can drive, but when I first passed my driving test, I'd drive past my school and I'd relive memories and I'd relive times with my friends and I'd see different parts. I remember when that happened there.
Yeah.
And it would and when I look back, I'm like, I used to do that because I used to miss those times. I used to miss the simple life of being young and not having all this pressure and stress and things that come with having responsibilities. And even people, I remember some of my friends I still love all of them. I'll drive past the house and I'll be I'd imagine seeing them again. Yeah. I would imagine just saying hi. It would just be part of my heart that would be connected to these places and music. Music, I listen to all it.
Takes that.
Yeah, music that you can listen to and different Drake songs and different J. Cole songs that I've always listened to from my childhood. It's interwoven into the fabric of my life, and I just kind of feel connected to those moments in my life. And I listen to these musics and I'm around these places and drive to these places. It's something that I like about that, and I think it's a part of grieving. I don't know, maybe it's part of grieving, or maybe it's just good memories. But maybe it's not as deep as I'm making it sound, but
it can definitely.
I think the emotion, for me at least,
and it can definitely be both. It's not necessarily a bad thing to remember and reminisce over good periods of a good time, but I think where that grieving aspect is when you're looking back at certain times and you can feel sad. I know definitely there's going back to relationships. I've even said to you, I miss these people. Yeah. I miss this time, and I miss seeing them live their lives and not being a part of that. That's really sad, and I can get emotional about that. But that's a part of it. It's grieving that old self, grieving your old life, but knowing that it all happened for a reason. You're simultaneously sad, you don't have something anymore, and grateful that it was part of your life and the richness that it brought into that period of your life. And something that can happen though when you are looking back and when you're feeling sad is that you're only remembering the highlights of that period of your life. You're not necessarily remembering it as it
Yeah,
fully
true.
was.
You just really good.
Like when you were young and you were driving past from school, I'm sure that there was a period of time when you were younger where you're like, oh, I just can't wait to be able to drive, be able to go around by myself, have that freedom. I can't wait to be able to, have some of my own money, don't rely on my parents. Like we're always, I think, it's typical of us as humans is looking at that next period and be like, oh, I can't wait till I get there. I can't wait till I do this. I can't wait till I'm there. And then looking back, oh, it was so good then. It was like, I'm not really being fully present in where we are now. And that's something that's really important when you are going through changes and transition, even if you're not quite where you want to be, if you're not that new self now, be grateful for this period where you are because you're only going to be here for a short amount of time. As Leon said at the beginning, change is the only constant and nothing in life is permanent. So if we can be grateful for where we are now, that's something that is really important. And it's something that we talk about a lot.
Yeah, we do talk about that a lot. On the topic of change, specifically people, but also everything. So we can be changing location. It's like on that topic, you said something where like it creates a space for new. Right? It's like for example, if something is suddenly gone, like it can sound spiritual, but it's actually very practical and pragmatic, actually logical in a sense where you have the time
And
and energy
energy.
to create new relationships. And maybe otherwise you wouldn't have been thinking about it, had all this relationship now.
Yeah.
So it makes you almost have a new desire to, oh, you know what, I want to network more, I want to meet these people, I want to like
Make more of an effort.
it makes you make more of an effort. So yeah, I all think it's part of just the life journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the valuable things. So really what we're trying to share with you guys is we've had our own experiences. We've given you insights into those experiences. Just ways to have the right attitude so that you can grow through these experiences. And maybe some of you right now can relate to this currently. Yeah. And if you are, remember some of these key points because it's all part of your life's journey. And we want to be able to facilitate that in the best way and hopefully learn a few things from the positives and the mistakes and negatives that we have experienced as well. So why don't we get into the next part, which is just going to be speaking a little bit more about how to really embody your identity. I think this is a good topic to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just something I mentioned, touched on before, is those habits of the person that you're trying to embody. I think that's the easiest and simple way of moving into that space maybe a little bit faster. Is like looking where you are now, what it is that you're trying to become or change into or transition to, and look at people and sources of inspiration and write down the habits and maybe not just the habits, but the mindsets. Like, what do they think about? What is that version of you who is living in that space, who is in that career? What do they embody? What do they think about? And how would they respond differently compared to where you are now or where you've been? And having that as a reference point to look over, and then you can look through that person and embody them more. And then sooner or later, you'll become them. That's really how we change.
Yeah, I agree. That is how we change. And really changes this way of understanding that like how you think about yourself and the beliefs that you hold, they need to change. If you hold the same belief the whole life, you haven't really changed a lot. But our beliefs are the things that are changing because our beliefs and the way that we think about ourselves, the way we think about others, the way we think about the world, life is kind of driving and running the show. So like if we're understanding that that's the kind of core, you can try and change your belief by just trying to think differently, right? Which we've done previously, is just positive yourself into like again, you learn from this, but like you think I can just think this stuff about myself and it's gonna work out. Life don't work like that. You have to also do. You have to actually act. You actually have to work on things and work hard. I believe work hard. Yeah, and the best way to do that is rather than just thinking I'm going to change my beliefs about myself, I'm going to actually give myself evidence, proof, and that is eventually going to give me the new beliefs. You don't have to be something to eventually do it and then have the results. You can actually do the actions that will make change who you're being and have the result. That's a interesting kind of way of using a little framework. Instead of you do have being, doing, and having, it's doing, being, and having also works as well. both go hand in hand.
I love that framework, and we've definitely mentioned it in a previous episode as well. So get excited for the person that you're becoming and what life you're stepping into, whether you're moving to a new place or in a new career. What can you feel excited about? What are you going to look forward to? And think more about that than you're reflecting on the past, then you're being sad about who you want to wear, or where you want to wear, or what you're not, what phase of life
Yeah,
you're no
where
longer
you choose to be.
Yeah.
Like in the day, so
absolutely.
many people are living in the past, and they're like, just poor me. Oh, which people are they? Well, it's like they ain't gonna change, baby. You can't change the past. So just like the only time the past realistic is just to learn and try to think about good memories.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a waste of time, energy, a waste of emotion. So yeah, like put most your energy in the present. That's the truth. That's what I've been working on. I'm always about trying to. I've been trying to get myself.
Healthy balance between.
I've been trying to get myself in the present back, and I've been working on that for a long time. It's improved a lot, and then have energy in the future, because if you know where you're going, you need to have targets. You need to know who you want to become. You want to know what that back life areas. What's your health looking like? What's your relationship looking like? What's your finances? What's your faith? What's your all the areas that we said in our very first episode, the wellness areas. You can check out an unbelievable episode for the feedback we got. But thanks for you guys sharing the feedback. Always goes a long way. It's very much part of our podcast journey.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's one you can check out, and really just understanding that if you're intentional and if you're clear on the person you want to be in these areas,
it's
and you're
easier.
living in the present now.
Makes it easy.
If you're like, it's my favorite word, smiling. I love efficiency.
Like this is the most efficient thing you can do on this thing.
Everything.
It's like the most efficient.
We have to be efficient. So it's like it's not a lot of like if you got 100% energy and you instead of it living in the past, and then 25% in the present, 25% in the future, you ain't living in the best way that you can for you.
Being grateful where you are, but being excited about what's about.
Lovely, darling. Lovely quote. I like that.
Amazing. So
I love.
I definitely.
I love. She loves a fairy.
Fairy.
Yeah.
Properly, like.
Yeah. Say again.
Being grateful where you are, but excited about what's to come.
That's a great quote. It's actually.
Great. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode about outgrowing your old life and transitioning and into yourself, and hopefully wherever you are on that journey, I'd love to hear about it. But hopefully you're not in that period of sadness, grieving your old self, but excited about your life, present,
and we're very much still embodying these things as we move towards the next chapter in our life. As we move towards getting married, relocating eventually, which is another goal of ours, and actually being able to start a family. Like these are things that these topics are very much on our mind, because even though we've come a long way, we've got a long way to go to be the people that we want to be, the couple that we intend to become. So present in our life, kind of remember, right? What we can say, the only thing constant is change, and we're constantly aiming to change because we believe, I believe, that is how we should be, because if you're not growing with that,
and that's how we grow through change, right? Growing as beginning, like age, we're changing, and we're shedding our old self, we're shedding old mindsets, old behaviors, old attitudes, and this is really what this episode is about. Like that period of uncomfortable, it can be painful.
That's very good. Yeah, that's what growing is. That's why working things is work. But it's necessary.
It's necessary, and it's also a beautiful process when you look back and when you see how you change, how you grow. That is one of the most special and unique parts of life and parts of this human experience. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you already, please do subscribe on our YouTube, on our Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you got value, share this with someone, because we feel like this can improve people's lives, and that's the whole main reason. It's not for us to make this so successful and become some global podcast that we make millions from. That.
I mean, if we did, that would be great.
Hey, we don't get it down, but we love adding value. That's why we're doing this. We love helping people. That's our biggest purpose here. And if we can help one more person, share it, because that's what we want to do. So yeah, engage, and catch you guys on next episode.
See you guys next time.
Take care.